Okay, how do I get this screen to be big? Like this part right there, how can I get it to cover the whole thing?
I can't see anything. You paused it.
Wait. Yeah,
Put your mouse over that screen.
yeah, this screen right here.
Okay, move me further away because I can't see it.
Wait, let me turn the thing around. How is this? Can you see now?
I can't see anything. No. It should be fine like that. That should be fine.
All right. Okay. Well, we're ready.
Okay,
It's going, right? Huh? I couldn't hear you. Yeah, I think we're good. But everything's okay. We're going, right?
I don't know. I can't see.
Oh.
I don't know. I still can't see your shoulders a little bit. I don't know. You gotta move the mouse over. Right now, all I see is a box.
How's that?
You gotta move your mouse over.
Right here?
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
It's
you're
on.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna wait for some folks. It's what time is it now?
We're gonna log on. So see you in a couple minutes.
Yeah, it starts at 6, so I think I'm a little early.
Okay, I'm gonna log on now.
All righty. Okay, see you in a bit.
Okay, okay.
Love you. Ready to rock and roll. Gabriel, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, I'm just sitting over here off to the side. I'm all by myself in here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, big building and nobody's in here, so I got the whole entire building to myself. Good thing I knew the alarm because I set off the alarms and oh my goodness, I ran over there just as fast as I could and I put in the code and it shut the alarm off.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but I got her. I got her.
That's good. I'm glad you're here.
Pardon me?
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, yeah, boy, I tell you. Otherwise, the cops would have came and beat me up. I think the cops here, they're not like the United States cops. They shoot, then they ask questions.
I got
They shoot,
my
they'll ask
my
questions
sister-in-law.
first, then they beat you up.
Yeah. I got my sister-in-law. She's just having dinner, but then she's gonna sit in.
Oh, good. Yeah, bring lots and lots of folks. Yeah, bring 2 friends and they'll bring 2 friends and pretty soon.
Yeah,
we'll
she's
have,
been
Yeah.
listening to the recordings. So
Yeah.
yeah, she said she wants to learn Bigani. And I was like,
Well,
you
it's the same
just
language,
start.
Blackfoot, we all speak the same language. Ghana. Yeah, we're all the same.
Yeah. And then I have my daughter again today because she's
Hey!
learning.
Oh. So copy.
Do you want notes? Like, do you want paper? No. Oh, whoa. He sometimes gets quiet, so if you need to move like closer, you can. And then I'm not moving. Okay. This is like some of the stuff that we went over. I need to look. My notes from last week. Oh, now I have. Don't have to.
Who else is here? All right. We got Gabriel, we got Ian. Larissa's here. Good, 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 good.
I was sick last week.
Were you? Oh no.
Yeah.
Just a
Glad
good
to be
old
back.
day.
Yeah, good old teacher disease.
You know, this year I didn't get my flu shot and I should have, but yeah, you know. Wait, hold on, I got a phone call. Hello.
Send me a picture of the Zoom thing, like with all the information, because I'm trying to get on, I can't get on because I don't know how to.
Okay. Let me send you this thing right here.
Yeah, send me a picture of that form.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Might have some new students coming.
Fresh blood.
Fresh, yeah, no kidding. I like. Let's try it this way. It's right here.
No, the paper.
Oh, does this help right here? This part right here?
No. Because I'm trying to get on and I need a passcode. You know that paper they have that gives you instructions how to get on?
Wait, hold on.
No. It's that.
This paper right here, right? Wait, hold on. Is it this one you're looking for?
Yeah. Hey, stop moving it.
Just take a screenshot and then you got it.
I don't know how to get onto this. Can you zoom back? You're too close. I need to see the other side of the paper.
There's nothing on the other side.
Okay, well, can you, I don't know how to get on.
How do you get on this site, guys? Does that work? This one?
Okay, I'll give you the meeting ID and then I'll give you the password. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can your friend hear me?
Yeah, can you hear her?
Okay.
No.
Wait, hold on.
Repeat it back.
Okay, just repeat. Okay, just tell me and let me write it down. I'll write it down and you can just copy it off my. Oh, Larissa.
All right, the meeting ID is 852
852
7539
That's the meeting ID.
3226.
Is that the same number?
Yeah, it's
852 7539 and
3226.
3226. That's it, right?
And then she'll need the passcode.
What's the passcode?
And the passcode is 33
Yep.
92
92.
69.
Okay, so here's the passcode 339269. $33 9269.
I got it. Thank you.
The guys on?
Yeah.
Hey, woo! Hey, all right. Okay. Oh, hey, good to see everybody. Hey. I'm over here. You know, they give me a whole bunch of keys. They give me a whole bunch of passcodes to get in here. You know, it's like I got the whole building to myself. But they have cameras everywhere and that's really good. So So last week we started family. Those of us who weren't here, so I'm talking to Larissa, of course, Nadine, Zach, and our new audience, Bailey, my wife Bailey and family. We started doing family last week. Just a little quick review. I'm gonna be asking Ian, you were here last week. Gabriel, you were here last week, and I don't see our other recipient who was here with us last week. Heather.
Were we all sick last Monday or what?
Yeah, we only had 3 last week. Ian,
Everybody was
Gabriel, and Heather. We're just the 3 of us. Then, you know, of course, me 4. And then we studied family. We started doing our family, and we're gonna do really quick. Ian, I'm gonna pick on you tonight. Share with the audience what we were taught last week, beginning with Oki. And of course, Nitsinska Sim, Julius, right? And then who are we introducing? All your family, right? Nin, Nixist, my mom, my dad, right? Niskan, that's your younger siblings. Now again, Zach, anybody who's a male, this is the word we use for younger sibling, male, niskan. We have a different word for female, and that's nissis, excuse me. And then, of course, Neets, our older brother, Nitst, our older sister, right? I think that's where we went. And of course, we said Nachs. It's the same word for our grandparents. So then we plural that Nach 6, then you would call out all your grandparents. So Ian, go first. Show off what you learned last week. Everybody shut off your mic. So this is Ian, you're on, you got the air. Go. You're still mute. Unmute your mic. There you go.
Okay, Nitsinska Sim, Ian Many Fingers, Nixista Otsinska Sim Terry, Nin Otsinska Sim Cal, Nasix Otsinska Sim Gordon and Loretta. How do you say brothers again?
Okay, well, if you have a younger,
Well, yeah, younger, yeah.
yeah, this Skaggs.
Niskakes,
Yeah,
Niskakes, Ross, Josh, and Willis, and yeah. How do you say sisters, but older sisters?
Nitst.
Nintst. Oh,
Nitst. Yeah.
Nintst. Susan and Marie. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So that's what we learned last week. We introduced our mom, our dad, our younger siblings, our older brother, older sister, and our grandparents last week. Now again, we have to really make sure and make note of this. When we're saying a younger sibling, okay? When we say niskegs or niskun, it covers both younger brother and younger sister, right? The same word for both, okay? And then for girls, women, female, Gabriel. And it's nissis. When you have a younger sibling that's either male or female, the word is nissis, okay? And that's going to cover all your younger siblings. Nissis 6. Gabriel, show off your Blackfoot from last week. Blue Fox iPad. Who that?
Say, this is Austin.
That was me.
Oh.
And it's Kara.
Kara.
Oh, hey, Kara. Good. And Blue Fox. Glad to have you all. My goodness, lots and lots. Gabriel, you're on the air. Everybody shut off your mics. Mute your mics. Gabriel is going to introduce her family. Go. Gabriel, you're on the air.
Oki, nitsitskatsim Gabriel, utomatutu okatoks. Nin utsitskatsim Michael, gi nixis utsitskatsim Jocelyn. Nisisix utsitskamia Julia, gi Jack, gi Tolosa, gi Nisix utsiskamia Tyler, gi Brett, gi Madeline, gi Todd, gi nach 6 utsitskamia Alan, gi Catherine, gi Anne, gi Peter.
Wow. Hey, give you guys a big round of applause. Holy smokes. Good job, Ian, Gabriel. Excellent. I understood what you were saying. So that's what we were doing last week. We were doing family. We're going to begin our family. And of course, we always begin with our nuclear family, right? Just a real quick, those of you who weren't here last week. This is the word nin. Nin. My dad. Nin. And this is the word we use for nixist. Nixist. You'll see that there's an A at the end of the word, and that omit that A, guys. Otherwise, you would say ninna. No, it's a nin. It's almost like a voiceless A at the end, so omit that, okay? I know we've all been schooled in the phonetics, and we all studied jolly phonics and so forth, and that. But Blackfoot has a different writing system. Larissa, you got a question?
I don't. I was just pulling my beading thread.
Oh, okay. Okay, so nin, nixist, my dad, my mother. Now make note of this word nixist. I'm going to underline it because it's the same word we use for auntie. It's the same word. So if you have an aunt on your mom's side and you have an aunt on your dad's side, nixist is the same word we use for your auntie. Okay? Understand that? You don't have okay, that's my father's sister, she's my maternal, paternal auntie, so forth. It's just one word. Nixist. So, it really brings our family structures much more closer than with the Western thought of our family, right? Western thought, we seem to separate the family into where they belong, in our family structures and that. But with the First Nation thinking that the families are much closer together based on the vocabulary and how we describe our family. Huh? So Nin, of course, is our father, our dad. Nixist, our mother. Now, this is where it really makes a difference in that. So I'm looking at all the male. This is the word we use for younger siblings. Niskan. Niskan. Okay? And this covers both male and female. Niskan. And it's a word that only men, okay? All the men out there, if you have a younger sibling that's either male or female, you would say Niskan, okay? Niskan Sandra, Niskan Dwayne, you know, it covers both, okay? And then for females, this is your word. Nisis. Nisis. Okay, so I'm looking at all, I'm talking to just the females. This is the word you would use for your younger siblings. Again, it's for male and female. So if you're a male, you have a younger sibling, oh, Niskan, oh, no, Niskan. Glad to see you again. It's very appropriate. Males, if you don't know a person's name, I know he's younger than you, Niskan. And you go, oh, possible, come, you know. It's like it's in skies. What's your name? I recognize you, right? And then the sis, your younger siblings, right? Okay, so okay, now we have our older brother. Now this is kind of a, make sure you put that little glottal stop after the NI, okay? And then you go like that. Nix. Nix, okay? It's almost like you're saying niece, like in English niece, okay? But after that NI, there's a bit of a glottal, there's a stoppage, it's nix, okay? Understand? That's an older brother. Older brother. That's going to be, yeah, I don't have any older brothers, but I can use that word for a person of older cousin. That's quite close to you in that. So I'm thinking of a really close cousin of mine. His name is Robert. It would be niece. His name is Robert Delaney, and he kind of like, it was kind of my babysitter for a while then. And so I would use that for an older sibling that's a cousin, niece, right? So Ian, if you have somebody that's older, that's in your family, that's a cousin, Western, you would say, well, that's my cousin from my dad's side. But in Blackfoot,
yeah.
we treat that person as niece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
lots
so-
of older cousins, so I could use
Yeah,
that.
they
word.
have some older cousins that are quite close, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Blackfoot, we would say niece, right? And if you have a younger cousin as well, too, that's kind of close to the family, that, well, you know, rather than say Onixu, of course, my relative, you can take him in as Niskan, right? Nis,
Ah, yeah.
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 So those words, and that really brings family close together as far as, you know, the nuclear family, but the extended family as well, right? Because auntie doesn't exist. It's the same word for your mother, right? So the closest relationship that they had back in the day, that person was actually would play the same role as your biological mom. You know, they would be probably raising you up just as, you know, your mom would take that role. Well, your aunties too, right? They exist. Whereas in Western thought, you say auntie and that, there seems to be like a distant type of relationship in that, right? Oh yeah, what side of the family is that? Oh, she's my auntie from my, you know, but it exists in that, you know, they start to really, because as we grow up in that, we start to visualize that, you know, this is the relationship of my auntie, that's my mom's sister, that's my brother's, I mean, my mom and my dad's sister, and so forth, right? Right. Okay, so older sister. And you say ninst. Ninst. N-I-N, ninst. It's almost like saying nin. You just put a S-S-T-A at the end, ninst. Older sister, and we all say that, okay? An older sister, ninst. You know, we can actually the same word for like if you have an older cousin that's female and that is quite close, to your family. Not necessarily an auntie, but like an older cousin, right? I could say that to some of my relatives in Sitsiga, they're older than me. I'll say in Western, oh, they're my cousins on my dad's side. But if you say it in Black, oh, ninced, and I think I can use those words for those very people. Wait, hold on. What's this? Whoosh, dish. Nothing? Where are you guys?
We can hear you. We're here.
What did I do? Where are you guys?
Did you pause your audio? Is that or
No.
your video?
There you guys. Oh. You guys still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. No, I said there's something there that says chat, and I clicked on it. I think, oh. Okay. Woo, that scared me.
You're doing great.
So, now we're gonna move on to our grandparents. Hey. And we have two sets, right? We have a mom, parents, and you got your dad's parents. But the one word that covers both of them is just this word right here. And I was counting all the A's. And there's 3 A's. You just extend that nachs. And at the very end, of course, there's that guttural sound, right? H. Nachs. Nach 6 is your plural, okay? So singular is nachs. Your plurals, of course, you're going to have 4, right? You're going to have 2 sets. You got your mom's parents and your dad's parents, which makes 4. So nach 6. The trick to this, you say 6 at the end of nachs. Nach 6, and it's plural. Okay. So anybody want to take a gander from the top? Ian, show them how it's done. Go. Listen to Ian. He's really got this.
Okay, how you would say it is naach six.
What's it?
Naach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. Nach 6. Utsinska simya.
Oh,
Remember?
okay. Naach six or tips. How do you say that? Or tips.
Utsinska simya.
Or tips got simya. Oh yeah. Or tips got simya. Naach six or tips got simya.
Yeah. And then name your 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gordon, Gay Loretta, Gay Alphonse, Gay Ruth.
Yeah. See? We have 2 sets. Nach 6. Nach, it's just 1, right? And I'll say, question, the God's a 2, the gunny one. So, nach, that's my grandpa, my grandma, right? So that really covers what we did last week. We did lots and lots of vocabulary last week. And I'm really proud of the students. We just kept going at it, and we would, we were repeating some of the words, and we're introducing our moms, introducing our dads, and our little brothers, older sisters, our grandparents. And it's just like, I think I know all your parents by now, listening to them. So we're gonna move on. Those of us who were here last week, you did excellent. So we're going to move on to, of course, we're going to stay with the family, but now we're going to move on to our married family, right? This is the family that you and I have, right? Our wives, our brother-in-laws, our sister-in-laws, those families, right? And then we're going to extend that to your father-in-law and your mother-in-law. So we're going to talk about those families today. It's going to be family type of night, family affair. Any questions about family from last week? I know some of you weren't here last week. Any questions, Larissa? Gabriel, I'm sure you got it down. Zach, Bailey, anybody there have any questions regarding family last week? Before we move on?
I got a question.
Go. Yeah.
I noticed some people when they introduce themselves, they'll say Ninsta Anastaya, and then when they're introducing their grandparents, they'll say how do you say it? But they use Anastaya instead of Otsinskasa.
I know, that's not my Blackfoot. My Blackfoot is Utsinska Semya.
Yeah, I heard that from.
Yeah, and that seems to be my crusade in that, you know, if you're gonna teach the Blackfoot, you need to teach it right, you know, correct. And I think the slang of Blackfoot and that, you know, we've been sort of over the years and so forth and that, I don't know where it changed. Oh, okay, it's in Skas. And so Nitaniku. Literally what that means, Nitaniku means I was told to. And then, you know, that's the actual word, Nitaniku. I was told to. What did they tell you to do? Oh, Nitaniku to, I don't know, go outside and play, right? That's a good. Oh, my dad told me to go outside, go play outside, you know. That's what that means, Nitaniku. Somewhere, the speakers of the language started saying, oh, okay, Nitaniku. Julius and that, you know, then several of us Blackfoot language teachers, speakers, are saying, you know what, it's really not the correct way of saying Nitaniku, Anista, right? Anistaya. It's more like Nitsinskas, and that seems to be the, you know, the appropriate word. And then you say Nitongpengkaku, I get called after my name, Delaney. So in Nitsinskas Julius, Nitongpengkaku, I get called after my name, Delaney. Wait, hold on, I gotta open some doors. Hello. Yeah, let me open that door. You guys come around this way. Oh,
Okay.
I'll open the door for you.
Wait, is everybody here?
Oh, I'm back. Oh, they're having some programming here at the center. They're using the gymnasium. Oh, hey, who else do we got there? First rider, introduce yourselves. Let's introduce our new guests here. First rider, Nadine and Bailey. Introduce yourself to our group, and of course, Blue Fox. Introduce yourselves. We'd like to meet y'all.
Hey, hi, I'm Austin.
Hi, I'm Austin.
Your name's Austin?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Meet Austin. Say, okay, Austin.
Okay.
Oh, Nadine.
Okay,
that's
Austin.
you. Hey, good to have you back. I didn't recognize. I just see the top of your head.
Okay, Austin.
Zach, glad you're back.
Hey,
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Of course, first rider. I see somebody new right there.
Okay, gusto ko Atsumaki.
Oh,
Sherry, first rider.
welcome. Yes, we're always
Welcome.
Yes. Got lots, right? Anybody else down here? Bailey, introduce.
Okay, Nishimshkasin, Bailey Bastine.
Anybody else there with you?
that's good.
Good. All right, that's good. Anybody else? Anybody new?
My,
that wants to
my
come in?
name's Scotson, Kara Cryinghead.
Yeah, Tara, good to have you back. Wait, we're just gonna have to do some, wait, you have to use that other door right here. Come. Oh, okay, yeah. Give me 1 minute. Okay, oh my goodness. They're having some programs here at the, and lots of traffic coming in through the boardroom. They should be using the other entrance. But anyways, I gotta be a security and I gotta be a teacher and I gotta control all the traffic that comes through here. So anyways, we're gonna start doing our family. Now we're talking about husbands and wives, our sister-in-laws, our brother-in-laws, and our mother-in-laws, and our father-in-laws, that particular family. And we're gonna go into, of course, some of the other words too. We're gonna cover our children. We all have words for our children, right? And that's gonna be a whole other lesson. Today we are talking about marriage. Okay, now before we start moving along about marriage and that, Blackfoot, we had a practice of arranged marriages. Okay, so we're going back probably 3 generations, maybe even 2 generations of that, because I heard that my maternal and paternal grandparents were actually arranged marriages, right? Their parents made those choices that they were going to be now husband and wife for that, right? I'm not too sure if I heard this right, but I failed to ask questions. But my grandmother on my mom's side told me they were in a lodge. I'm not too sure how old they were in that. And in this lodge, they were sitting across from each other. I'm thinking of a teepee, right? So my grandmother, that's my mom's mom, was sitting there with her parents, looking across the teepee to her future husband sitting there. And they were talking, you know, the parents were talking to each other in that. All in Blackfoot, you know, and she was told, this is going to be your husband now, right? That was an arranged marriage in that. And they stayed together right until death do them part, right? So they must have went through, you know, the arranged marriages, but at the same time, you know, the laws that govern our nation, Alberta and so forth, we have to have some kind of a marriage ceremony to bind that relationship, right? But it was an arranged marriage. And then on the Delaney side too, same thing. I hear that my grandmother, she was born in 1898. Right? She was at a time probably just making those transitions from this whole area being open to now living on a reservation. So she was a small girl. But later on in that, she married John Delaney. And that was an arranged marriage as well too. So that wasn't that long ago when you think about it, right? Probably in the early 1800s, early 1900s, probably that generation probably were the last of the arranged marriages that we know. Now, if you look at some of the arranged marriages in other cultures and that, it seems to be a marriage of convenience or a marriage of possession, haves, right? You know, so most arranged marriages in that Western, I'm not too sure, it's not like that anymore. But there are other countries and other cultures that still practice this, right? I'm not too sure which countries or which cultures, but there's still a practice where the parents decide who your wife is going to be. or who your husband's gonna be now, right? Well, in Blackfoot, that's how it was back in the day. It was an arranged marriage. And I'm sure, because of the society that we lived in, that, I don't think they rebelled against those decisions. I don't want to do that. That's, it's just because of the language being what it was, and that those arranged marriages were probably very acceptable. It was a social norm that was acceptable within the fabric of the camps, the community, right? Probably, if you think about it, that, because they were such a close-knit communities and so forth, and that, maybe they were making sure that these two parties, were not related somehow, right? So that the bloodline, is far, so, it was probably that, and when you think about those things and that today, where did they move to? They probably went on their own right off the bat, right? Because, and we'll talk about this later on tonight, because there's certain relationships that men had with due respect to their mother-in-laws, and we'll talk about that when we get in there. Okay? So that was pretty interesting to know that, hey, you know what? We had arranged marriages way back in the day. And it was, you think about even today, I don't think it would work, right? With the social media and so forth and that. I'm not gonna live with that person and that. But anyways, those were some of the, some of the things that were. That was a Blackfoot culture, Siksika, the Gaina and the Bikani and so forth, the intermarriage and so forth. And can I say too, when the Blackfoot warriors, when they went on their Esuya, right? We call them their expeditions, some say on their war expeditions, and not necessarily war, but they wanted to expand their knowledge of what's out there now. So they rode out. And of course, maybe they ran into some other camps of another tribe. And they don't go in there with guns blazing and start shooting everybody up. And then they go in there and they see if they can grab any artifacts that they could without somebody losing a life in that. And they probably went in there sometimes and they would grab women and bring them back, right? To their camps and adopt that woman as your wife now. And that's very acceptable back in the days, right? Well, Zach, you got something to say? Anybody?
No,
Okay.
no, nothing to
So
say.
those things, arranged marriages, and of course, capturing. I know of a story of probably they were saying one of the last raids or those intertribal raids that were happening in that, where there was a Gaina lady that was actually captured by the Sabuigweks, the people we call the Crow. And he was brought over there, and then he was actually adopted and probably married into into their tribe and that. Within his knowledge, all those years and that, she knew that she was Gaina or Siksika, like in this area. She kept that in mind. So then later on, of course, when they started settling down into reserves, and there was a lot of intertribal visiting, we started traveling afar and that. Somebody actually went down into their fair, and they found out the descendants, that our grandmother, our great grandmother, so forth, is from the Gaina. He was actually captured in one of the raids and so forth and that, right? Being a young guy, and oh yeah, okay, yeah. But we should have researched it just a little bit more and think, hey, what was your great grandmother's name and so forth and that, right? It would have been really interesting to find out the bloodline, like which family did he come from and that. But I guess we just never did. Maybe those stories and all have been lost, right? So things like that do happen. All right, let's get into our vocabulary for now. We didn't have anybody here to send out the vocabulary to you all. I got them right here. And hopefully next week Sue will be back or Chris will be back. And then we'll send this out all to the to our class members here. Okay, so our first one. This is for all the women. My husband. My husband. And this is how you say it, ladies. Ni na pim. Ni na pim. Okay? Now, part of the word in here is nina. Can you see that? The prefix of the word nina. Nina pim. That is my husband. And then some will say noom. Noom is another word that they say. Noom, which in Scott feminine, of course, and introduce your husband. Okay, whether it be common law or somebody that you've lived with for years and years, and that has become your husband, you say ninapi. But this is the more appropriate word that I would use. Okay, as opposed to noom. But they're both correct. Whichever you wish, this is the more easier word, noom, but ninapi, right? And of course, when you start to research some of these words and that, you know, some of the more fluent speakers, the female speakers and that, they would say ninapi as opposed to noom, right? It seems to be more, you know, as a ninapi, and that person as your husband, you know, it's really highly regarded in that because the word nina is in there, right? Ninapi. Huh? Sugapi? So, those of you who have husbands, remember, Utsinska Sim, his or her name. I'm going to just do it right here real quick. Utsinska Sim. Utsinska Sim is his or her name. Is, okay? So let's do this. I'm going to pick on all the females. Larissa. Nina Pim Utsinska Sim, and then say the name at the end.
Ninapi Unsinska Sim Kevin.
Good. Nina Pim. Gabriel.
Ninapi Utsitskatsim Daniel.
Good. Nadine. Nadine, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh.
Ninapin
Utsinska.
Utsis I don't have a husband.
Oh, okay. Well, you know how to say it. Okay. Bailey. Bailey. Now, Bailey's my wife, by the way. Bailey. You there? Go.
Napim Vite Saxonal.
Yeah, Utsinska Sim.
Oh. Utsinskasim.
Yeah, that's me. That's my Blackfoot. Hey, it's a copy. Anybody else? First rider?
Ninapim Otsiskatsim Dylan.
Good. Yeah. See? I see how easy that is. Okay, so men. Let's share our word for Blackfoot. I'm gonna leave what's in Wisconsin on there. No, you know how there's always a debate. There's always going to be a debate out there. Is what's the proper terminology in that? And of course, you know, there's 4 groups of Blackfoot speaking people, and the speakers of the language, they'll say, "Oh, that's inappropriate. That's appropriate. That seems to be the right word," and that. But this is the word for my wife.
Nipitam.
Hey. Nipitam. So, Nipitam, I'll go first. Nipitam, Utsinska Sim, Natui Kakatusaki, for Blackfoot name. Or in English, my wife's name is Bailey Bastine. But in Blackfoot, Nipitam Utsinskasim Natui Kakatusaki. Holy Star Woman. Ian, even if you don't have a wife, but just, say it.
Okay, Nipitam Otinskasam Melissa.
Good. Zach.
Nipitam Utsitskatsim Paula.
Yeah. Great. Anybody else? Blue Fox? You have a girlfriend? Nipitam?
I think it's time for Austin's bedtime, so we're gonna have to sign off. But thank you guys.
Oh, hey, thank you for
Bye,
joining.
Austin.
Hey, every
Goodbye.
Monday,
Bye.
every Monday.
Asaguku.
Good night, Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Good.
Nice to meet you. Hope you
Nice to
enjoy.
meet you.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Okay, so we were going to talk about polygamy. This is where we as Blackfoot people practice polygamy. It wasn't something that was indoctrinated or something that was customary in that. This is how it works, okay? Now think of the days of the buffalo and that, particularly when you started getting the horse. When the Blackfoots got the horse and that, we were able to expand our region just a little bit further. And during those expansions and that, of course, we're going to run into other groups of people and that, for the resources that were there, and, for the land to expand, right? So the riders they started moving more east into the Saskatchewan area because we couldn't go west because of the Rockies, right? So it went southeast, a little bit north along the tree line and that. And you start to, expand in that, then you're going to run into other groups of people in that. And of course, you're going to have a disagreement in that, right? Over those regions and that. And you say, well, war, right? And you're going to have a little bit skirmishes in that. And it's going to happen, right? So the men would go out and they would leave their epidemics at home. And then something happens to the man, may have fallen off the horse or fallen off the cliff, or may have gotten killed by another tribe during that time, right? So they all come back home, one less warrior. Then all you have is a wife at home who's a widow now, right? But that's not the case. So a sister of this widow now would now have her husband take her in. So now that you have, the man, his wife, now the sister is included as part of, the family, right? What that does is that the widow is not going to be taken care of. He's not going to right? He's not going to have to suffer to have something to eat. He's going to have warmth in his lodge because, the man now has to be inclusive of two wives now, right? He has to take care of these two people and that. And the children are going to have a father figure. That's how that works, right? So a man, would have maybe up to two wives. If something happened to the husband of the sister's husband. Somewhere along the line, he got killed and unable to come home and that. And then, suddenly you have two wives. Not like, say, some of the indoctrined polygamy, type of thing and that, you have lots and lots of wives and that. Because it's written in their, in their literature. So that's how that works, Ian. Okay, Zach, the many wives happens when your wife's sister's husband's passed and that, right? So those things kind of happen and then you start taking in, some of the women who are widows, because, it's harsh. We live based on the healthiness of the community, the camp, right? Nobody's left behind. Nobody suffers. Everybody's gonna be taken care of with that. So that, you know, this widow who has just lost her husband on one of the raids and that is not gonna suffer by not having something to eat, someone to take care of the children and so forth and that, right? So that's where the family comes in. And, you know, the family, the aunties, the sisters, right? You know, the mothers. And then, of course, if you have older siblings, niece, right? Older cousins and that, niece, you know, so everybody's going to be taken care of and so forth. You know, you're not going to be left behind in that. You're not going to have no home. You're not going to have nothing to eat. You're always going to be taken care of. So that's how polygamy worked back in the day. Okay. So don't think of, oh, how many wives can I have? Don't start. Okay. It's a different thought process. So 2 words. Ninapim nipitam. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we are parents of children who are of age to marry, right? And then your oldest daughter or your daughter who's now married. So now you have a new family member into your family. And then he's your son-in-law. It's going to be your son-in-law on your daughter's marriage. So your son-in-law is it's a real easy word. It's spelled like this, but omit the A. And just say this. This. So if you have a son-in-law, this. I have a son-in-law. This would since got some Byron. Okay. I just have one son-in-law. And I would since got some Byron. So this would since got some Byron. And if you have several, all you gotta do, if you have several son-in-laws, you just put the word 6 in there. This 6. And then you name them all, right? So this would since got some Byron. Larissa, do you have a son-in-law?
No, sir.
Ian?
Ah, yes, I do.
Okay, so introduce your Nis.
Nis Sim Josh.
Good, yeah, Nis. Nadine? You have a son-in-law or a nephew-in-law that you can kind of adopt it as your son-in-law? Nis?
Well, I was gonna say that, you know, like these family ties that we talk about.
Yeah,
You know, like the aunties, like they're all my moms because
Yeah.
they corrected me, they taught me, they, you know, raised me. So they're like all my moms. And the same thing too, right? Like my cousins, those are my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's right.
We were raised together, we all went to grandma's house, you know. And then same with that, my sisters, I only have sisters, and then it's the same thing. I'm the mom, not the auntie.
Yeah.
And help raised all my nieces and nephews. So those are all of my kids.
Yeah.
Which in turns becomes all of my son-in-laws, all of my grandchildren.
Yes, just include them, yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of brother-in-laws.
You know, because of the close-knit family that the language ties us together in that, you know, some of your aunties, son-in-laws could be yours too. Miss, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this, yeah, those are some of the, you know, things that we, you know, say, this, but, you know, because of the close-knit families of how we describe each other in Blackfoot and that, right? Really ties in the families closer as toward the Western thought, you know, that's my son-in-law over there.
Mm-hmm.
You have a son-in-law?
Yes, we've got a bunch of them.
Okay, so Nis 6.
Nis 6. Otsis Gatsim.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's plural. Yeah.
Sim, yeah. Avery, Lane, Travis, a bunch of them.
Oh, okay. Okay, anybody else want to share any son-in-laws? Miss Zach?
No,
You know, you don't have any son-in-laws? Gabriel? Any son-in-laws?
No, my babies are babies still.
What about your sisters? And maybe they'll have a son-in-law. Do you have a sister that has a son-in-law? You can say that, you know, that's Miss.
If my sister has a son-in-law or my
Yeah.
brother-in-law.
A son,
Uh,
no, a son-in-law, son-in-law.
Yeah, no son-in-laws here.
Bailey, you and I have the same son-in-law. Bailey. Hello.
This is Timskasin Byron.
Yeah, Nis, so Tinskasim Byron, Nis. Very easy word, right? Nis. So if you have a son-in-law, it's your Nis. If you have son-in-laws, Nis
Nis
six.
six.
Yeah,
Nis
Nis
six.
six. Just kind of change the subject and that. Did you guys kind of watch the news, what's happening in our weather? Our water here in southern Alberta, we have such a water shortage that they think that this coming summer, we might not have that much water to do irrigation. If we don't have enough snowfall or rain within the coming seasons, you and I might be rationing water. You know, it's just a food for thought. Okay, so now we're gonna say my daughter-in-law. That's how you spell daughter, right? In-law. Another easy word. It's just a little bit it's just a little bit different combination of what you would say. Nymphs. So all you did is add the M right there to nis. Nymphs. Nymphs. So my daughter-in-law, nymphs utsinska sim wanda. Nymphs utsinska sim wanda. Nymphs six, if I have several, then you put the six at the end. Nymphs six. If you have several daughter-in-laws. So nymphs utsinska sim wanda. Okay. And yeah, it's the only daughter-in-law that I have. I have one son-in-law and one daughter-in-law. Clarissa, you have a daughter-in-law. Yeah, Sa? No?
No.
Okay. Ian, you have a daughter-in-law? Sa? No
Sa.
no. Zach? You still?
Sa.
No? Of course, Gabriel's kids are still small. Nadine? Any nymph six daughter-in-laws?
Trying to think. Yeah, I think I have one.
Yeah, and
Nim sis, old sis Sim. I can't remember her name. Sorry.
I guess she didn't get a Christmas present, eh? Oh, what's her name again? I'll just give it away. Yeah, nymphs. Okay, so now let's start from the top. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna start nipitam. Utsinska sim natui kakatusaki. Nis utsinska sim Byron. Nymphs utsinska sim Wanda. Okay, again. Nipitam utsinska sim natui kakatusaki. Nis utsinska sim Byron. Nimps utsinska sim Wanda. So who wants to have a gander at this? Anybody? Who wants to go? I want to start.
Mine
from the
will be
bottom up.
Mine will be short. The only
Okay.
one that will apply to me would be Ninapius since Kasim Kevin.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all.
that's it. Eh? Okay, you don't have any sister, I mean, son or daughter-in-laws. Ian, let's go with you.
Okay, I got a question. So my brother's wife, that's not my daughter-in-law, right?
Your brother's wife is not
Yeah.
your sister.
Sister-in-law.
Oh yeah.
It's a different word.
I'm confused. Okay, Nippy
We're gonna
Tom
be getting to that pretty quick.
Yeah, Nippy Tom Otsinska Sim. I'll say her Blackfoot name. Misami Tsustakyaki. Yeah, and so my Nis Otsinska Sim, Josh.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Small family. It's gonna grow, right? Anybody else? Dean, you wanna have a gander? I know you don't have a Ninapi, but Nis or Nimps.
Yeah. Nis six Utsis Katsim,
Yeah,
my son-in-law. Avery, Lane, Travis. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then this
Nimps.
Nim
Yeah.
Nims Utsis Katsim.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Lady.
Bill, come on, just at the tip of your tongue. Zach.
Yeah.
Nipidam Otsitskatsim Paula.
And that's it.
That's it.
Okay. First
Yeah.
drive. I just forget your first name again. What's your name again?
Sherry.
Sherry?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sherry, introduce. Ninapim.
Ninapim.
Utskasim.
Otsiskatsim. Dylan or Bideki Bitsipimi.
Yes.
Nisix. Otsiskatsim. Brandon. And Nimsa. Otsiskatsim. Cassidy.
Good. Excellent. Bailey. All the way down at the bottom. I kind of go from the top to the bottom of the screen. Bailey.
Nanapim Utsinskasim Bite Sasaksanam Nimps Utsimskasin
And Nis. You forgot Nis.
Nis Utsimskasin Byron.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Right? When it was saying my name is, you say Nitsinskasim. Second person, let's say Ian, you and I, Nitsinskasim Julius. Gitsinskasim Ian. Third person, when you and I are talking, Utsinskasim. Okay? That's how that works. U, so ni, gi, and u is always going to be the third person. Okay? Guys got it? Ni. So anytime you're going to talk about yourself and that, the subject is always going to be ni. Okay? When it's a second person, it's going to be gi, ki. The third person perspective of the speech is u. Okay? Utsinskasim, nitsinskasim, gitsinskasim. Okay? So when you're asking a question, what's your name? Sa gitsinskasim. What is your name? Okay? Second person. Sa, you and I are talking. Utsinskasim o bikaniko. Sa utsinskasim siksgaiko. right? Did you guys understand what I'm saying? And okay? Sa utsinska sim napikwan. Sa utsinska sim siksakakwan. Away, this, right?
Here, yeah.
So when we talk about third person, it's always going to be because I'm talking to the audience right there as a second person. So we're talking about a third person perspective of that. Utsinska. You're describing to me your relationships, my wife, my my son-in-law, and so forth. So it's always going to be okay? Utsinska. Okay, let's sing it. Utsinska sim. Utsinska sim. Utsinska sim. Utsinska sim. There, see? Utsinska sim. So always the third person. Ooh. Okay, where are we? Okay, so that was daughter-in-law. It's amazing how phones work, man. My goodness. Oh. Okay, so we are now at brother-in-law. This is what you were talking about there, Ian. You wanted to know your brother-in-law, and it's going to do with going to sister-in-law. So this is the brother-in-law. I'm going to put it like this. Brother-in-law, okay? I'll put a little N right there. Brother-in-law. Now, males. I'm talking to Ian. I'm talking to Zach. Anybody that's male in our audience? This is your sister's husband, okay? That is going to be now your brother-in-law. And this is how you say this. This is your sister's brother. This is going to be your brother-in-law. Did you see the word nis in there? Okay. Nistamu. So nistamu. So we're talking about your sister's husband. That is your brother-in-law. Okay. So I'm trying to think of I only have one brother-in-law right now. So nistamu utsinska sim Tom. Oh, of course, I have another one too. My late sister, Nistamoix. Those are my brother-in-laws, my sister's husbands. Utsinska simya Tom he. What's his name again? Eagle Child. Help me out here. What's Velma's husband's name again? Eagle Child. I can picture.
Pito Buxton.
What's his name? He's an Eagle Child. Bailey, help me out. What is Velma's husband's name again? Eagle Child.
Cameron?
No, Cameron's dead.
Oh,
What was his name again? I just, my sister passed away years ago. I just totally forgot my brother-in-law's name. Oh, I can picture. Cameron, Cameron, Shani, they're dead. Anyways,
Clayton?
No, Clayton is that's another son. That's the
Is that Gilbert?
no.
Not
My late
Gilbert?
sister Velma's husband is an Eagle Child.
Oh, Eagle Child. I thought you said Eagle Bear. Oh,
No, Eagle Child. Oh, what is his name? It's gonna. Oh, now I'm gonna go to sleep thinking about it. So this is the move.
Beta?
No. His English. No, I just forget his. I can picture him. What was his name? My brother-in-law is still around. Nistamu. So Nistamu, and I can only remember one. What's in this guy's Tom? Now that's a man thing. So Ian, you have a brother-in-law that's your sister's husband?
yeah. Nistamu Otinska Seb Joshki Willis.
Okay. So you have a plural, Nistamoix.
Oh, Nistamoix.
Nistamoix.
Nistamoix Otinska Simya. What did I say?
Simya, right? Plural.
Yeah. Joshki Willis.
Good. Zach, do you have any brother-in-laws that are?
Yeah. Nistamu Otsiskasim David Jones.
Oh, wow, good. Yeah, so that's a male thing, you know, that's you and I say, right? Now, when you marry your wife, of course, when you marry, you also adopt the brothers of your wives as your brother-in-law. And there's a word for that one too. So these are your wife's brothers, okay? Understand, Ian, Zach, okay?
Yeah.
And this is the word for it's very easy. It's the same word, nista, and then the only difference is just the suffix of it. Nistamuch.
Nistamuchs.
Nistamuchku. Nistamuch. And I have two in my wife's two brothers. Okay, so I would say I would have to plural that. Nistamuchs. Nistamuchgoiks. Excuse me. Nistamuchgoiks. Utsinska semia. Gonna plural that. Blaze, Guy, Roy. Okay. So I have two brother-in-laws that are on my wife's brothers. All right. So you have your sister's husbands or your brother-in-law, Nistamu. Your wife's brothers, Nistamuchgu. Nistamuchgu. And then I have two, so I plural that, I would say Nistamuchguiks. What's it? Scott Simia, Blaze, Roy. Okay, so that's something that
You have 3 brother-in-laws.
Huh?
You forgot Nathan. You have 3
Oh yeah,
brother-in-laws.
no, yeah, Nathan. I forgot me. See, I need Bailey sometime. I have 3 brother-in-laws. So Nistamoix Utsinska Simya, Nathan, Roy, Guy, Blaze. 3. Ah. Oh, wow, hey. So Ian, do you have any brother-in-laws that your wife?
Yeah, I'm getting Nistamu and Nistamuchgo mixed up.
Okay, this is the move. Okay, this is the difference. This is the move.
Yeah.
Is your sister's husbands. This Stamuchgu is your wife's brothers.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was saying. But I meant to say last time, I meant to say Nistamuchgo. So my brother-in-laws, right?
Yeah, your brother-in-law. Those are your wife's brothers.
Yeah. I just figured that out right now. So
Okay.
how do you make that plural again? Nistamuchgo.
Goiks.
Okay, Nistamuchgoiks, Otsinska, Timia, Josh, Guy, Willis.
Good. Got that really good. Awesome. Oh my goodness, you guys are wicked black students. I'm just going to give you all A's, golden stars. Zach, your wife's brothers?
Nipitam Nistumachku Otsimskasim Garrett.
Okay. Yeah. Brother-in-law. So there's 2, right? There's going to be your sister's husbands and then your wife's brothers, right? That's how that works. Okay, so going to now, of course, the female. So you're going to have a brother-in-law now, okay? Oh, this is what I can find. So this is the brother-in-law, in-law, your sister's husbands, okay? So your sister's husbands, this is how you say it. Ni do yum. Ni do yum. It's almost like saying she is my secondary husband. That's almost what you're saying. It's my secondary husband. And I get a sense that
Oh.
it's an old Blackfoot word, probably, because remember you were saying that polygamy, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe one time be included as part of your sister's husband, because your husband may have gone to war or on an expedition, not come back. So that's probably where this word came from. If you look at some of the nitutuyum, yum over here is part of the word right? Noom, my husband, right? So sisters, sister, ladies, this is your word for your brother-in-law. Nitutuyum, say that. Nitutuyum. Utsinskasim, and then of course name your brother-in-law, who is your sister's husband now. Larissa, do you have any brother-in-laws?
Would there be a different way to say it if they're deceased?
It was what?
Deceased.
Yeah,
So
well,
like you being like my brother-in-law's name is, or would it is the same for you was?
you know,
Or
you would have to say this word at the beginning. Nam. Okay?
nom.
Yeah, say nam.
No, oh,
No,
get off my beat,
no.
cat.
So what that means is that this was a past person.
Ah.
Right? So now when they do to you, right?
Ah.
So somebody that was and is, but was now, you know, he's past, you say now.
Yeah. So nam natutuyum shamrock day chief.
Utsinskas.
Nam utsinskasim.
Okay, you gotta say
Right. So it's okay. Right, because that does okay. So nam natutuyum usinskasim shamrock.
Shamrock. Oh. You know, that name kind of sounds familiar. Is it Shamrock Beachy? Oh. So he lives in our community. Bailey, you know.
He's dead now. He
I
died
know.
last year. Yeah,
He
yeah.
died, well, we caught the same thing and I came through and he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Shamrock. Yeah.
Is he still alive?
No, he died last year.
No, he had COVID and never made it. Yeah. Well, Shamrock.
Really?
I know Shamrock quite well. Yeah, so now Shamrock is to you, man. You're Nadine. To you. What's it discuss? Do you have any brother-in-laws? Your sister's husband's husband?
Yeah. So again, right? Like it's like these are the men that have had children with my sisters.
Yeah.
That's how I take them as my brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
They may or may not be together.
Yeah.
But they're like my brother-in-laws because we share blood. So that's how I take it. So I have many.
Okay.
Because I have 4 sisters. So it's nitutuyum otsiskasim. Let's see. Lorne, Ron, David, Clayton.
Yeah. Nitutuyum. Gabriel, you have a brother-in-law.
Yeah, I have 2, and my sister-in-law has.
Okay.
I think Kate should go first. Oh
okay.
no.
Good. Hello.
Hello. I'm gonna try my best. This is one of the first classes I've been to. So I'm gonna try my
okay.
best.
Yeah, we have some seasoned veterans here, so we will encourage you. Yeah.
Okay. Nitutuyum
Good.
otsiskasim. Matthew. Yeah, Matthew.
Matthew, good. Now it's Nitutuyum otsiskasim. Matthew, good. Gabriel.
Okay. Nitutuyum, is it nitutuyum mix?
Yeah, Nitutuyum mix. If you have several.
Nitutuyum mix. Utsitskamia, Robert G. Thomas.
Good. I like that. See, when it's plural, you mix. You have the plural utsin ska sim mia, and I like how you did that. Excellent. Bailey. I'm gonna go to Bailey. You.
Ni do you Otsimskasim Nathan.
Yeah, good. Sherry, right? Your name, Sherry? Do you have a brother-in-law? Okay.
Ni do you Otsimskasim Cody.
Good. Awesome, 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 awesome. We all have brother-in-laws. Now, of course, now we're going to move on to the males. Then we have sister-in-laws.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If because you gave a brother-in-law and then you gave your wife's brothers.
Yeah.
What would you say if, because my brother-in-law is my sister's husband. So what would my husband say?
What's that?
Would he say nistamu or would he say nistamohgu?
Nistamohgu.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now we only got about 10 minutes. And I want to do maybe one last one, and we'll leave it at that because that's just a lot of vocabulary. Okay. So males, your sister-in-law, okay, would be ni do doch. There's that guttural. Ni do doch ki man. Ni do doch ki man. Your sister-in-law. Ni do doch ki man. So your sister-in-law, these are your husband, or your brother's wives, right? Ni do doch ki man. So I only have one brother and he's a bachelor, so I don't have any do doch ki man. I don't have any sister-in-laws. Okay. So, Ian, do you have any sister-in-laws?
Yeah. Ni do tuhkiman Otsinska sim Alana.
Yeah. Good. This is a male thing. Zach, do you have any sister-in-laws?
Sa.
That's good. All right, good. I just don't want to inundate you with a whole bunch of vocabularies and all of a sudden, nitutuyum, nitutuhkima, nimps, nis, and nipitam, nitam, what do you call it? Ninapim, and so forth and that. Now, I think we'll end it off there with a little bit of discussion. Now, we were talking about marriage in a sense, biologically, man and woman, right? And they come together, they become husband and wife. And then we were teaching, my wife and I, Bailey, at the Gulf. We first started teaching the language. And a question came up. Well, what about same-sex marriages and that? Was that something that happened in the communities that were during the Buffalo days and that? Myself growing up, I knew two individuals that were, I want to say this, that were men, but what's the appropriate term? I want to say gay, right? Would that be appropriate? So they were, in a sense, yeah, but they didn't actually marry, right? But they were very much part of the community. Their friends were female, and a lot of the, within the friends that they had within their circles and that were women. And they themselves behaved as such, that, even in today's standards and that we measure them, right? Then they would be ostracized and that. But back in the days, and everything was inclusive. Remember, it's for the betterment of the community if this person behaves and likes and and lives that lifestyle, and that it's very culturally appropriate because that person has a role within the bigger part of the the camps or the communities and that. They're very much included in that. And I know these two people, one of the most gentlest, most friendliest individuals that you can have in that. I think one of them is still around. I think he's staying at our center, our elder center that's in Standoff and that. And he's in his 80s. And he lived happily. Like he had friends, he had family and that. He was never once ostracized in the sense that, and today it's well accepted. I think when you start to think of, the old way of thinking of those individuals and that, the choices that they made, very acceptable. Nothing was he didn't really restructure the fabric of society and that. They were just part of, our everyday societies and that. Totally acceptable. And how do you say that? And then how would you describe these people in that? Well, we would say, I've heard this with our elders, awa kumimi ninegs, right? If you were a male, no, if you're a male, awa kumimi geeks, awa kumimi, which means this is what he or he follows, awa kumimi. He loves those society. If you are, the opposite, and you were a woman, he was awa kumimi ninegs, right? And there's a role that they can play in that, right? It's very much part of the society. And they use them, to redistribute their skills into what they can do for the betterment of the community and so forth. I thought I would share that with you, and that it's very acceptable, even in today, like myself in particular in that. I had a daughter that had that, and it was very much accepted by myself, just the way I was shown at a very young age. But in going to school today, the ideologies that are out there, it's just unacceptable, and so forth and that. But yeah, but that's the Western thought as to, what we would think of it as acceptable. Anybody want to chime in on that?
I heard I was working on this play with a friend of mine, Sable Sweetgrass. She wrote this play. I think it was called A Wowaki. And it was like someone who it's about someone who travels between like both genders. Is that like is that something you're familiar with, that word, that a Wowaki?
A Wowaki, yeah, like a Wowaki means like he's back and forth on two worlds, right?
Back and forth on two worlds.
Right. Awo. He travels in this path, Awo in another one, right? Two different paths, Awowaki. Two-path woman. That would be the translation for that.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Is this like the stories of like manly hearted women, like in Blackfoot stories? Is it the same?
Say again.
Is this like the stories of like manly hearted women? Like there's Blackfoot stories of manly hearted women?
Yeah, like there's stories of women warriors and so forth in that. They were saying that the last Indian battle that we had here, the Indian battle that was just here in the Lethbridge, they were saying that everybody participated in that battle. The elderly men, even some of the elderly women, and even some of the women engaged themselves in that. They went out there, they engaged in that. Very social acceptable and so forth, right? And with today's standards, and we sort of measure ourselves as what the churches tell us, right? When Canada was found, the churches themselves and that really had a big role in the development of the system that we now live under, the government system support, right? When you started making, the rules, so forth, some of the governing, so families have to be as such in that. So, you look at those things in that. And then Blackfoot culture, our women were much more highly regarded back then as we are today in that. So what was a patriotic thought process in Canada? We had to sort of change our whole social fabric, which was kind of like this, right? Even, no, we got to put your women under here, and then the man is the head of the state to that. And that's something that we had to really adopt, and that we're trying to get away from that thought process. It doesn't really work for us, right? When you start to think of the language, how we adopt each other as family, Nadine, right? Within the language, and our families are much closely knit as opposed to the Western thought, they're on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to end off there, and we're going to, there's a few more words. I wanted to talk about the men in particular, our mother-in-laws, okay? Agyachs, our mother-in-laws. Agyachs. The word agis in there, agyachs. Ninachs is our father-in-laws. As men, back in the day, I'm going to go back to the generation that was my grandparents and that. A man, which is you and I, we would never be in the same room or the same household as your mother-in-law. You would never engage in a conversation with your mother-in-law. You would never look or be in the same room as your mother-in-law. We're talking about maybe 2 generations of that. Your agyachs, that was just the respect that we had, of the women. We would hold them very high in that. And as a son-in-law, you would have so much respect for that individual that you will not be in the same room. I've heard of stories when they started living in houses and so forth. They would separate, because they had to kind of live together, right? There wasn't so many houses in that. They would separate certain houses with a blanket so that your mother-in-law would be on the other side of the blanket and your new son-in-law would be on the other side. Just because, you cannot, that's just something that was culturally something that we had as we were people, right? So, it's something that, it's back then, it was very, I remember some of our elders, why not, you don't talk to you cannot talk to your brother-in-law, your mother-in-law, can't be in the same room and so forth. But that was back then. Today it's socially acceptable. Christmas dinners, birthday dinners, get everybody together, and that's the family that we have today, and that's how we operate today, right? But it's a different thought process, and the people back then were probably our grandparents.
That's where I was. I was visiting my sister for her and my birthdays.
Yeah.
This is Kara.
Hello, Kara. Yeah.
I had to visit my sister for her birthday and my birthday.
Oh, good.
I'm 45 now.
Yeah.
45.
You're 45. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll end off there. Thank you so much. We had so much introduction to our family, right? Our family that is now. Your wives, your husbands, your brother-in-laws, your sister-in-laws, and of course your akyachs and ninachs, your in-laws. And we'll end off there. And then we're going to come back next week. We're going to continue with family. And we're going to talk about children. Okay? Children, grandchildren, and so forth. And we'll finish up family as it is, our married family. And we'll kind of have a review. Then we're going to move on to other things, exciting things. So, okay, any questions? Everybody give us thumbs up, Sugapi. It was a good class. I love it.
Sugapi.
Thank you. Kitagi damatsin no
Proper way. Kita matsin no, right? Plural. Kita matsin, one person. Right?
Kita matsin po.
So I'm going to close it off over here. Then I'm going to go lock up and set the alarms. And then
thanks, Julius.
Hey, thanks for joining me, guys. Sugapi.
Escape.
Yeah. Oh. Ah.